Tonight I'll share with you a story that will touch your heart. A little boy sitting all alone in the corner of a mosque, crying with such pain that his innocent dua shook an entire city. Stay with me, because what happened next will leave you amazed. It was a calm evening. The soft glow of the lamps brightened the mosque, and the gentle sound of Quran recitation filled the air. The entire place was wrapped in peace and spirituality. In that quiet atmosphere, at the back corner of the mosque, a small boy sat all alone. Tears rolled down his cheeks, and his trembling little hands tried to hide his face. His sobs were soft, but the weight of his sorrow was heavy. Worshippers came and went. Some were busy in their prayers, while others left quickly for their homes. No one noticed the boy sitting silently with his pain. In a hall where people found peace, the child remained lost in his grief and helplessness. His clothes were old and simple. His innocent face carried red, tired eyes that spoke more than words ever could. That little body looked as if it was carrying a burden far greater than its strength. In that corner he sat quietly, pouring out his heart in front of Allah alone. The boy's sobs grew a little louder, though he tried his best to stay quiet. His chest rose and fell quickly, as if each breath was carrying the weight of his sadness. He wiped his face with his sleeves, but fresh tears kept flowing, wetting the fabric again and again. A few people passing by glanced in his direction for a moment, but none stopped. They thought perhaps he was just a child who had lost his way, or had a small worry. No one imagined that such deep pain could hide in the heart of someone so young. The silence of the mosque made his cries sound even heavier. The walls seemed to echo his small, broken voice, and the floor beneath him was damp with his tears. Still, he did not move. He did not call anyone for help. His only hope was the one he had come to speak to, Allah. The imam of the mosque was walking slowly through the prayer hall, checking if everything was in order before leaving. As he passed near the back corner, he suddenly noticed the small figure of the child, sitting with his head lowered and his body shaking from quiet sobs. The imam paused. His heart softened at the sight. He walked closer, gently placing his hand on the boy's shoulder. The child flinched at first, surprised that someone had come near him. "My son," the imam said softly, his voice full of kindness. "Why are you sitting here all alone? And why are you crying like this?" The boy looked up with red, swollen eyes. For a moment he could not speak. His lips trembled, and fresh tears slipped down his cheeks. The imam waited patiently, his hand still resting on the boy's shoulder, giving him the courage to answer. Force, little boy finally gathered the strength to whisper. His voice was shaky, and every word seemed to come out with pain. "My father, he passed away some months ago," he said, lowering his gaze. "Since then, everything has changed in our home. My mother is very sick now, and there is no food for us to eat. I don't know what to do. I don't know who else to ask." His small hands tightened together, and he continued. "So I came here, to the mosque. I thought maybe if I cry to Allah, He will listen to me. Maybe He will help my mother. Maybe He will not let us sleep hungry again tonight." The imam's eyes grew wet as he listened to the child's simple, heartbreaking words. He could feel the innocence and sincerity behind every sentence. This was not just the sadness of a child, it was the kind of pain that shakes even the strongest hearts. The imam gently took the boy's small hands into his own. His voice was calm and filled with compassion as he said, "Come, my son. Let us raise our hands together and ask from Allah. He is the one who always listens." The boy wiped his tears with the back of his sleeve and slowly lifted his trembling hands. His eyes were still wet, but his face showed hope, as if he believed something good would finally happen. The imam raised his hands beside him. His voice broke the silence of the mosque as he began to make dua. "Ya Allah, you are the most merciful. This child has come to you with a broken heart. His mother is sick, his home is empty, and his soul is tired. Please, Ya Allah, shower your mercy on him and his family." The boy whispered Amin softly, again and again, his lips shaking as more tears rolled down. For the first time that evening, his sadness was mixed with a glimmer of trust. He was no longer crying alone. As the imam's voice filled the mosque with dua, a few worshippers nearby paused and turned their heads. They noticed the little boy, sitting with raised hands, his eyes swollen from tears, and the imam beside him praying with deep sincerity. One by one, people began to gather around. Some quietly sat down, others raised their hands to join in the dua. The sound of soft Amin echoed through the hall. What started with the broken heart of one child was now spreading to every soul present. The boy looked around and saw faces he did not know, men young and old, whispering prayers for him and his mother. His heart felt lighter, as though his pain was no longer his alone. Soon, almost the entire mosque was united in the same prayer. Their voices rose together, filled with compassion and sincerity, carrying the weight of the boy's tears to the heavens. After the prayer ended, people did not rush to leave. Some approached the boy, gently patting his back, while others quietly spoke to the imam about what they had heard. Hearts had been moved, and no one wanted to walk away as if nothing had happened. One man left the mosque quickly, but not to go home. He went out to tell others in the neighborhood about the little child and his sick mother. Another man, deeply touched, called his friends, asking them to come and help. Within hours, the news began to spread across the town. A small boy had cried in the mosque, and his tears had shaken every heart that heard his story. Strangers who had never met him felt as if he was their own son or brother. The pain of one child was becoming the concern of an entire community. By the next morning, people from the town began arriving at the boy's small home. Some carried bags of food, others brought medicine for his sick mother. A few even brought money quietly, slipping it into the imam's hand so the family would never feel embarrassed. The little house that had been filled with silence and hunger was now filled with visitors, voices of comfort, and the smell of fresh bread. Neighbors who had never spoken much before now stood shoulder to shoulder, helping in every way they could. The boy's mother, weak but smiling through her pain, looked around with tears in her eyes. She could hardly believe that strangers had come forward with such kindness. The child, who had sat crying alone in the mosque, now stood surrounded by people who cared. His innocent heart felt something new: relief. The story of the little boy spread far beyond his neighborhood. People in the market spoke about it. Families at dinner tables mentioned it, and travelers carried the news to nearby villages. Everywhere, hearts were touched by the thought of a child whose tears had reached the throne of Allah and shaken an entire community. Charity boxes were filled more quickly than before. People who had been distant from the mosque began returning, inspired by what they had heard. Neighbors looked at each other with softer eyes, realizing how many silent struggles might be hidden behind closed doors. The boy's pain had awakened something greater, a reminder that Allah's mercy flows through the kindness of people. His cries had not only brought food to his home, but had also revived faith in many hearts across the city. Days passed, and the little boy's home was no longer the same. His mother slowly began to recover with proper medicine and care. Their kitchen was filled with food, and kind neighbors often stopped by to check on them. What once felt like loneliness had turned into a family of hundreds around them. The imam often reminded the people, it was not wealth or strength that moved us. It was the innocent prayer of a child made with tears and trust in Allah. Never underestimate the dua that comes from a pure heart. The boy, though still young, carried a new light in his eyes. He knew that Allah had heard him. His cries in the quiet corner of the mosque had not only changed his own home, but had touched an entire city. And so, the story remained in people's hearts, a reminder that when even the smallest voice calls upon Allah with sincerity, the heavens listen and the earth responds. If this story touched your heart, then remember, there are countless lessons in our deen that inspire and strengthen faith. I will be sharing many more stories like this, full of hope and reminders. So if you want to hear them, make sure to subscribe, share this with others, and tell me in the comments what lesson you took from this story.